If you're a real estate professional in California, can you lose your license after getting arrested? This is the topic we're tackling today, and so you definitely want to stick through to the end because there's some very important information that we're covering in this video. The Department of Real Estate seeks to protect consumers in real estate transactions. As you know, there are a lot of different ways where shady folks can defraud people in real estate transactions. And so part of the department's functions is to do its best to ensure that they have professionals who will conduct business honestly and ethically and not exploit the public. So if you are a real estate professional and you get arrested and charged with a crime, this can seriously put your license at risk. And so I want to tell you a story about a client who we'll call Michael. Michael's not his real name. We want to respect client confidentiality. Mike was in his 40s. He was doing really well in real estate, and he was one of the top agents in his brokerage. Unfortunately, he had a pretty tumultuous relationship with his girlfriend, Linda. Mike and Linda were that couple that gets together, breaks up, gets together again, breaks up, and next thing you know, they're back in love. Mike worked really hard, but he played even harder. And you could always catch Mike on the weekends popping bottles in the club. One weekend, Mike and Linda had gone out to the club, and as usual, Mike had a table with the bottle service, and along with the bottle service comes all the women. So Mike had gotten a little too flirty with one of the bottle service girls, and Linda definitely took notice, but she didn't make a scene at the club. But when they got home, Linda really let him have it. She just starts getting spicy with Mike. "Oh, you really liked that little bottle service girl, didn't you? You're a jerk. How could you do this to me? That was so embarrassing. I hate you." Linda ends up reaching back and smacking Mike in the face, and he just wasn't expecting it, so he kind of reeled backwards, and she goes back to hit him again. And he goes, "What's wrong with you?" He ends up grabbing her, spins her around, and kind of does a maneuver where he throws her onto the couch, and she's moving all about, and he grabs her wrists and holds them down in order to calm her down. So eventually she stops screaming and shifting around, and he gets up off of her. In reality, this just set her off even more, so she ends up pulling out her phone and calls 911. She told the dispatcher that her boyfriend just attacked her and threw her on the ground, and she wanted him removed from the apartment. So eventually the police arrive at the apartment. Picture this: Mike is a 6'3" big burly dude, and Linda is barely 5 feet tall and rail thin. So you can see where this is going. Linda had red marks all over her wrists from Mike holding her down, and her hair was all disheveled, and needless to say, Mike ended up getting arrested and taken to jail that night. Mike had no criminal history whatsoever. This was frightening for him, and after bailing out, he was completely worried about having to go back to jail. But he was even more concerned about the possibility of losing his license. As you know, every person with a real estate license has fingerprints on file with the Department of Justice. If a person gets arrested, charged, and/or convicted of a crime, the Department of Justice sends that information over to the Department of Real Estate electronically. And so the DRE then does a screening process to determine if the criminal activity is quote unquote substantially related to the functions of an agent or a broker. So not all convictions are actually going to trigger disciplinary action. Only the ones that are considered substantially related to the qualifications, functions, or duties of a real estate licensee can trigger discipline. So the next natural question is, well, what qualifies as substantially related? A substantially related conviction is one that brings into question a person's ability to adhere to and uphold the duties, qualifications, and functions of a real estate professional. Some examples of offenses that have been found to be substantially related include forgery, fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion, theft, and bribery. And these are the obvious ones, right? If you get caught doing any of these, it's really going to call into question your ability or willingness to do business above board. And this is likely going to subject you to discipline, or even worse, result in you losing your license. Offenses involving drugs and alcohol call into question one's judgment and can be problematic for you. Sex offenses such as sexual assault and rape are also on the list. Domestic violence and other violent crimes can trigger discipline as well. So as you can see, Mike's license was potentially at risk. He started looking for help online and found our firm. We had an initial strategy session where he got to tell us what happened that night. We gave him the chance to explain exactly what this situation meant to him and how a conviction would affect his life. He ended up hiring us to get this situation taken care of for him. Now, Mike's first court date was just a couple of weeks away, so we had to act quickly. Unfortunately, a lot of guys get arrested for domestic violence when they didn't actually do anything wrong. Now, mind you, there are a lot of guys who get arrested who actually were violent with their mates, but that's a whole nother story. Suffice it to say that Mike got arrested because the police determined that he was the dominant aggressor based on their investigation. They had taken photos of Linda's wrist and she had scratches on her arms and her hair was all wild. And remember, she said that Mike had attacked her. So Mike ended up giving us more details about what actually happened on the night in question. So when the police conduct a domestic violence investigation, they're typically going to separate the parties and get each side's version of the story. So Mike had tried to tell the police that Linda had started everything and that he was only defending himself, but the police just weren't buying it. I mean, when you have a big guy and a tiny woman, I'm sorry, but generally the police are going to side with the woman. That's just the way it is. So, Linda was still upset about how Mike acted at the club. After all, he was a jerk, but she also recognized that he should not have been arrested. He certainly didn't deserve to get convicted of domestic violence and potentially lose his real estate license. Fortunately, Linda was willing to talk to our investigator. Our investigator interviewed her and she provided a statement saying that she was the one who got physical with Mike first and that he was only trying to calm her down. One of the ways we as defense attorneys get cases dismissed is by demonstrating to the DA that they're not going to be able to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, or they're going to have a great difficulty in doing so. By providing the DA with a witness statement from Linda admitting that she was the one who attacked first and that Mike was really only physical with her in order to calm her down and keep her from attacking him, we were able to show that he did not commit domestic violence against her. The DA ultimately agreed and they exercised their discretion and declined to file charges against Mike. So in the end, Mike never even had to step foot in court. On top of that, he never ended up being subjected to disciplinary action by the Department of Real Estate. If Mike had not acted fast and reached out to us when he did, things could have gone very differently for him. If you have a professional license like a real estate license and you get arrested, there is no time to waste. It is vital that you contact a solid defense firm immediately. Getting started sooner rather than later can make all the difference in your case. If you're a real estate professional facing criminal charges in the San Diego area, we can help. My name is Jamal Kersey and I'm the principal attorney at Kersey Law, and we're a boutique criminal defense firm in San Diego, California. You can click the link in the description below for more information on how you can schedule an initial strategy session with us. Now, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please show me some love and hit the like button. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.